Alright, in this video today, I will be making a very simple, sugar-free dessert. Y'all are. Here's Johnny and welcome to my channel, Cajun Roots Cuisine. If this is your first time, I want to thank you so much for tripping over my channel, and if you've been returning, I want to thank you for always coming back and showing your love and support to the channel. And if you would do me a big favor, it's free. Right below the video, that word subscribe. Would you please check and see if you're subscribed, and right next to the notification, hit all so you don't miss out when I come up with another video, as well as hit me that thumbs up because I would greatly appreciate it. But most of all, don't forget to leave me those comments because I answer all comments. All right, in this video today, I will be making a very simple sugar-free dessert, and it only calls for a few ingredients like bananas, chocolate chips, chocolate cocoa, vanilla, and I always use coffee, instant coffee, when doing anything with chocolate, especially when I have to melt it. And so what I'll be doing, instead of using regular coffee instant, I'm using decaf just to give it a little extra flavor, but not giving that caffeine in a dessert. All right, and if you check the description bar below, I will have not only the ingredients, but the equipment and things you need to do this dessert. For example, you will need a double boiler, and I do have one. You can use a double boiler. Make sure you do not fill the bottom of this pan all the way with water. You don't want to fill it all the way. And if you don't want to use the double boiler, you don't have one, just use a saucepan, and I'll pull that to the side because I'm not going to be using that one today. Just make sure you have about maybe a third of water at the bottom because we're going to bring that to a boil. And then what I'm going to do is you can use either a glass bowl or a stainless steel bowl. I have them both, but I choose to do this one today because I want a deeper bowl to show you what's going to happen in the dessert. As well as you will need a pan that's about, maybe smaller if you choose to, but I'm going to be using an 8 by 11.5 by 2 inch baking pan, but it's a glass one. And you also will need your parchment paper. And what I did was I cut the corners to fit it perfectly into and you see how I got them cut. And then I'll show you when I put the dessert that I'm making into it, how do I fit that in there. So what I do is a little trick my grandmother taught me. And basically you can do it with cutting the corners. And then what you're going to do is you're going to roll it into the corners like this, where you're going to fold it, and it gives it that nice curve on the corners here. That way when you're going to put the dessert in, it'll have a nice form. We want to use parchment paper because it's going to be easy for us to take out. This recipe, once you're done putting it together, it's just a matter of chilling it in the refrigerator for about 2 to 3 hours, and then it'll be ready to eat. And you can top it whatever you like, maybe some Cool Whip, some more hot cocoa, Hershey's chocolate cocoa. I use a dark flavor one at that. So also you're going to need your bananas. I use 4 bananas. And I'll be having all this again in the description below. I'm using about a medium to large size, 2 mediums and 2 large bananas. That'll give me my 4. I'm also using the Hershey's chocolate. I love my dark chocolate. And I'm using the Hershey's cocoa. And you're going to need some vanilla extract. And I'm going to be using, I found this at the store finally. This is the Hershey's chocolate. It is not dark chocolate, but I'm going to add dark chocolate to it. And it's the zero sugar chocolate chips. They finally have them in the store. My next video, you might want to stay tuned because I'm going to be making another recipe with chocolate and peanut butter chips. So that'll be something you might want to look out for. And then also I'm going to use, you can use instant regular coffee, but I'm going to be using the classic decaf because Robert, a lot of times at night, he drinks his coffee almost all day, but not late where he drinks regular, so he drinks a lot of decaf. So we happen to have these on hand, and I'm going to use a decaf. I could have used regular, but I don't want to make that extra caffeine in the dessert. Then you're going to need your bowl and everything, and also you're going to need a tablespoon and 1 teaspoon and a very small sifter. I'll show you how I'm going to use that later. As well as a blender, or actually a food processor, because we're going to pulp the bananas for this dessert. So let's go into it, and without further ado, let's get started. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the camera down so we can see what I'm doing here. Now in the saucepan, like I said, I have about a third of the bottom of the pot with water, and I'm going to bring that to a boil on high heat. And I'm going to put the bowl right on top of it to make sure that the bowl is not touching the water. You do not want it to touch the water. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this to a rolling boil, and then we'll go to the next step. All right, let me tilt this back down. I have to adjust everything. All right, we're going to bring this to a boil, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid back on it, get this to a rolling boil, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, while the water is boiling, I'm going to get the bananas done. You want to use your mixing and chopping blade inside your food processor. I'm going to put that in and lock the handle in. Now what I'm going to do is, while this is heating up, and once it comes to a rolling boil, I'm going to get this out of my way for a minute. Still got some water from the... Put everything in my mixing bowl right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel these bananas. And I'm going to make sure the veins are not there. And then I'm going to break these up into pieces. And I like to make sure all these veins are not there. And I'm going to give you a trick about something with bananas that I've learned a long time ago from my grandmother. And you'll hear me in reference to my grandmother because I did stay with her a lot during the summers down in the bayous of Louisiana. And she taught me a lot of these tricks. So make sure you take all the veins off. And you're just going to break them up in little chunks. Raise this back up a little bit. And you're just going to break them up in chunks. And we'll do that to all four. Now, if for some reason you have an issue, you know how you have problems sometimes where you go to try to peel a banana from the top and it doesn't peel? Take and pinch the tail portion or the bottom portion and it comes right off. And you're going to get that little point out of there. And then we're going to do the same thing. Pull off all the veins. The veins are where the sour part of a banana is. It's like that really tart flavor, and I don't like that in my bananas. So, I'll take those off. All right, I'm going to pause for a minute, get this done, and then we'll go to the next step. All right, now I got my water in a rolling boil. I'll take the lid off. And now I will place the bowl right on top. Make sure there's nothing in here. I'm going to have the avalanche. Wipe it out again. And I'll place it right on top. And again, it's not touching the water, so it's still away from the water. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take the chips, the chocolates. Now you can pick whatever you want, but I'm trying to get everything with no sugar. And the reason I use this is because I'm keeping everything as no sugar as possible. So I got all the ingredients that does have no sugar. And we're going to put this in here. And we're going to melt this. And I'm going to use a spatula to constantly move it around as it melts. And this one is, and this is the first time I do this, so I'm going to try this with 8 ounces. I may need to go further into maybe another bag, because that may not be enough. Yeah, I'm going to have to do 2. It should be 16 ounces total. So I got another bag on hand. I did buy 2 just in case. Because again, this is not the first time I'm doing this recipe. So I'm going to do 16 ounces, which is 2 8-ounce bags. We'll get that melted. Move that to the side. And then we'll get this stirring around. Get it all nice and melted. Just keep it moving. We're going to lower that heat. And get all that nice and melted, and I'll show you the next step as soon as this is done. Alright, what I'm going to do is, because the morsels are almost done, I will start doing my vanilla. You should have a teaspoon for vanilla, and I'm going to add it into here while this is melting. And I'm using a teaspoon of vanilla. That's exactly what I had left. Alright. Get that out the way. We'll go ahead and keep stirring this in while this is melting. And then I will then, while this is happening, I'm gonna, because I don't want the noise, I'm gonna pulse these on the pea, because you have your different ways here, and you have pulp. You want to make sure you use the pulp to do the bananas, because you want to leave some chunks in your bananas. So that's what I'm going to do while this is still melting, and I'll bring you right back to the next step. Oh, and I want to give you a tip. Make sure you put the lid on before you start, and also when you're doing that, make sure it locks, because you want to make sure when you're doing this that it is locked in place so you don't have a mess all over the place. All right, let me pulp this while this is melting, and we'll get back together with the next step. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and take this off. Out of the pot, turn this off. I'm going to take this out. And as you see, it's nice and turns and easy. Now on this one, I usually never use this particular type of morsels, but because it's sugar-free and I'm trying to make this a complete sugar-free, I usually use the baking bars, the chocolate baking bars. But because I'm trying to keep this sugar-free, I'm going to leave it and try these. And it's still doing the same thing. It's okay. But it's nice and soft, so I can stir it with no problem. It's nice and loose. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to add 1 pack of this instant coffee. Again, this is decaf. I don't know how to open these except because I've never used these before. So I'm going to add this to this. And that'll give it that extra flavor with the chocolate. And then I'm going to take and do my dark chocolate. And I'm going to do 2 tablespoons. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in my little sifter. Because I want to make sure I don't get no lumps in this. And I'm going to put it in the sifter. That's 2 heaping tablespoons. This is 1 tablespoon, but I'm using 2. And I'm going to sift this in here because I want to make sure there's no... And basically I'm just going to keep tipping it side to side. And I'll even use a spoon if I have to help it through. Get any lumps out of there. And I am using the dark chocolate special. And again, there is no sugar in this as well. That's why I use this one. And I'll just get all this out of here and make sure there's no lumps. It's okay if I get a mess. Like my grandmother used to always say, if you know you're a good cook, if you make a mess, as long as you clean as you go. I used to love my grandma watching her cook and learn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all this in here. And it looks like there's no more lumps. Yep. All right, so I'm going to just put all that in here now. And I'm going to leave this on a small plate right here, and I'm done with that. Get all that out of my way. Get that out of my way. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the pulp of the bananas, and I'm going to show you. It looks almost like a cake mix thickness when you're done. I don't know why I had that open. It looks like a cake mix. The thickness of a cake mix is what you want. And what we're going to do is we're going to pour this into this batter. And we're not going to stir it. We're going to fold it. Let me get another spatula. I'm going to spatula all this out of here. And it's just as thick as almost like I would say almost like maybe a pancake mix. I've never done this before. This is my first. So you are learning as I learn to do this myself. And this is going to be the easiest part after this. There's no baking involved. How about I just take the blade out, Juju? There we go. I'm going to clean off the blade. I don't like to waste knitting. Get it all in there. At least the majority of it anyway. I'm not going to sit and scrape every minute. Every little section of it, but I'll get the majority of it. All right, and on the bottom. I don't want none of it to go to waste. All right, get that out of the way here. Yep. All right. Get the rest of this out. And then what we're going to do is instead of stirring this all up, we're going to try to fold it in. But I want to make sure it's nice and consistent and all mixed ingredients become one. Like I usually say, marry them. Don't keep them separated. No, we don't want a separation. We want it all together. Happy together. How is the weather? All right. Now, my hands, I love that bananas on there. I'm done with the cocoa. I'm done with the coffee. Get that out of my way. I'm done with my Caesars. Get that out of my way. All right, now, this is just a matter of, ooh, it's still hot, child. Jenny, It's hot. And we're just going to keep folding this until it's all incorporated together. And then I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. It's just a matter of stirring and folding. Stirring and folding. And basically what this is going to do is cool off the chocolate and get a nice mixture all together. And then we're going to keep on stirring this until it comes together, and I'll show you the finished step. All right, it's getting close, so I want to get it back on the camera so you can see as I'm doing it. It'll start turning dark as you keep folding it. And you will get that little airiness in there. And you see it's starting to turn darker color. The side is starting to cool off. And it's just a matter of folding, not stirring. Bring it from the middle, stir it inward or outward, either way. You might see a couple of chunks of chocolate, you might see a couple of chunks of bananas. That's all good. I'm going to keep stirring this until I see there's no white or yellowish color from the bananas. And fold in or out, out or in, it doesn't matter. Just keep folding it. And I'm going to try this because I told Robert about it. I was watching a video one day, and that's all I did was watch a video once, and I kind of know how to do it. It's just a matter of what ingredients they used. And what's amazing is some of these videos say only 2 ingredients. I'm sorry, but there was not no 2 ingredients in this. But anywho, all right, I think it's well nice and mixed. Cool. That's a good workout on your arms. All right, get this out of my way. Almost lost that. All right. Now, the next step. Remember at the beginning I told you about the baking pan and the parchment paper? This is where you're going to try to make sure you pour it slowly. Make sure all your corners are overlapping each other. And we're going to pour slowly first. As you saw, it came up a little bit. And we're going to start pouring it slowly. Get that in there evenly. Get that back in that corner. Make sure my corners are lined up. And we're going to pour all this in here. Oh, that smells good too. My next dessert, keep an eye out. I'll be doing chocolate and peanut butter. Peanut butter time, peanut butter time. All right, we'll get all this out of here, and then we're going to make this evenly into the pan. And the next step is the easiest but the hardest, long waiting for it in the fridge. Get all this out of here, all that goodness. That chocolate smells good too. All right, let me get this on. My hands are nice and clean, so I'm going to clean this off so I can get the rest of that bowl. Get all that out of there. That way I can get the rest of that bowl evenly. Alright. Go ahead and get the rest of this. I'm going to scrape it all out of that bowl. I want it all. Come daddy. No chocolate waste. You know what I might do? I'm going to leave something to leave the bowl. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure all the corners are in place. And we're going to spread this out to the corners. Making sure we cover everything and keep it nice and flat. Making sure the corners are nice and folded in place. So the chocolate itself is going to hold those corners in place. And you need to spread this out. One more scrape. And the next step I'm going to need is some saran wrap or foil, but I'm going to use saran wrap, cling wrap, because I'm going to need to put this in the fridge. And it should take about 2 to 3 hours refrigerated. Then you can take it out and serve it. And what I'll do is I'll come back to the video once that is set up and show you the finished product. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to put this, shake it. And I'm going to put this in the fridge, cover it. But what I'm going to do is I'm also going to go around the side and cut this up. Actually, you know what? I need to leave it because I need it to grab out of the pan. All right, so I'm going to wash my hands. And I'll seal this with saran wrap and put it in the fridge. And then when it's time, I'll show you the ending product. All right, it's been over 2.5 hours in the refrigerator. Now we're going to go ahead and do the next step and see how it came out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera down so you can see what I'm doing here. There we go. Bring that up some more. There we go. Now we're cooking with some Earl. All right. So I got a knife ready to cut. I'm going to open this up. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, it smells good. All right, it's not sticking to my finger, so it's definitely what it should be. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this to the side, and I'm gonna lift this out directly onto a cutting board. Put that back on the side, move the saran wrap, cling wrap, because I'm gonna reuse it. I'm not gonna throw it away because I can reuse it. All right, let's see what happens when I pull this off. Oh, it looks like fudge. Okay, it came out like a fudge. I think what I'm gonna do when I do another one again, I'm gonna try, instead of the morsels, the actual baking bricks, the baking block, because this did not turn out what I expected. But you know what? I look at this one, anything chocolate is good, right? All right, so it's not, it should have come out like similar to like a cake. That did not happen. So I think that's why it did what it did. All right, let's see what happens when I cut into it. Because it's nice and solid. Let me do it in threes. Well, it's cutting like a brownie, actually. The chocolate, definitely, you can hear the cutting of the chocolate. I'm gonna cut them in bars. We'll have to use like a spatula or something. Almost like a moist brownie is the way the texture is. And one of the things I want to suggest, like I said, I'm going to do the next one, but I'm going to do it with the chocolate bars, the baking bars. I think that's what might make a difference. But let me go ahead and plate one of these up and see what happened. I did not stick much to the plate, so it's just the knife, so it's just like a brownie. All right, now let me get a small little spatula, dessert spatula. Here we go. All right, I'll get one of those. Y'all need to go outside? Come on, let's go outside. You guys go outside, go ahead. The children wanted to go outside. All right, now let's go ahead and see what happens when I pull it off the paper. Well, it's coming right off. Yeah, I think it would have been a better after product. Yep, just like a little brownie. And there's like little chunks of the banana in there. Show you a close-up of it. Came out pretty thin, but it looks like a brownie, a chewy brownie. All right, so let me do this. And I want to do one more thing, is I'm going to put this right back into the bowl. And keep it that way. Because I will have a clean, I ain't going to worry about cleaning up a container after we finish it. All right, so let me get the next topping. What would be better with just a chocolate? Everything I've used was no sugar. So why not top it with, I'm gonna cover the store brand, because it's a store brand, but it's still good. It's sugar-free whipped cream. So let's go ahead and top that and see what it's like. You know I gotta do a taste test. And I don't care too much for the whipped cream, but Robert does. He loves it. But I'm going to get a little spoonful of dab on it. And let's see what happens. Let me pick up my knife cover. Alright, let's get a shot on the camera. And I'll take a picture of this before I eat into it. So there's the topping. So I definitely want to take a picture of this. Oh, it's nice and soft too. Almost like a pudding. Okay. I have to say, it's good. The morsels, there are some that kind of made gotten hard, so it's almost like biting into the chocolate chips. And it's actually not bad for being sugar-free. Again, remember, the bananas, if there's any sugar in it, that's the only sugar you're going to get. But these are the ones that I buy that are more green, and it started ripening as soon as they started to turn with a light green left on them. That's when I decided to use these. I just got those bananas yesterday for this reason. But this is good. Almost like a pudding. Well, fuck. Son of a bitch. Fuck. Well, I'm going to be having to edit some of this out. I just had an avalanche of my island of pots just collapsed over everything in the middle of me cooking. So I had to clear that up so I can get back to my recipe. So without further ado, we're going to get right back into this because it ain't going to stop me from making this recipe. So I went on ahead and put the water back on the heat. I didn't realize the camera was still rolling. They went all over the place. Broken pieces of... Anywho. Back to our video. As I always say before in each and every video, thank you so much, and I hope the collection of ceiling pieces falling on my video, the meal still went on, the recipe still went on, and I have to say it still turned out pretty good. And so if this is, again, please do me a favor before you go ahead and leave. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the notifications. Make sure you get all notifications when I come out with another one. As well as don't forget the thumbs up and give me those comments. Let me know what you think. Now, I will be doing this recipe again, maybe with a little bit difference in the cooking chocolate that I used. But again, my next one, don't forget to make sure you are watching because I will be doing one with a different recipe with peanut butter chips and chocolate. And it's supposed to be a cake. No flour, no sugar. So as I say before in each and every one of my videos, bon appetit, good loving, good cooking, and enjoy what you cook. And until I see you again next time, bon appetit. Mwah. Later. Love always. Have a blessed day.